So exactly what I'm saying is exactly what I believe. There are some things that needs to be changed fundamentally, not just in the American system, but globally. The world needs to actually see what's going on. There is a lot of things that is going on that is affecting the psychology of humanity, and that's affecting the way we think, that's affecting the way we reason, that's affecting the way we process, and that has to be discussed. We have to talk about these things. We are not going to act like these things don't matter, because they actually do matter. So whenever I think about these things, and I'm infuriated because I feel like some people are just hearing people speak, but they're not understanding what they're saying. It's a different thing when you hear someone speak and you understand what the person is saying, and it's a different thing when you're just hearing someone speak and you don't understand what the person is saying. And I believe strongly that we have to get to the point where we have to start hearing ourselves speak, and we have to understand ourselves. And we have to break out of that cycle and that chain of ignorance where we only see one perspective. If we cannot see both perspectives, then we are not being neutral in the situation. We're not being thoughtful, we're not being progressive, we're not being, understanding. And a soft answer will drive away wrath. That's what the Bible says. So a soft response by the police, by the, by the protesters as well, will drive away wrath. But if everybody is going at each other's throats, trying to kill the person just the way they killed George Floyd, then it becomes a problem. Because we are not trying to reason with each other. And I come from a perspective that believes that we have to give ourselves the opportunity to reason. We have to reason with each other. We have to understand what's going on. We have to see things from a different perspective. We have to see things from a perspective of how to help each other grow, how to make people understand what's going on. And I believe strongly that we can do that by the way we reason, and by the way we choose, the approach that we take. We should not take the approach of hate or violence or looting or rioting or burning down vehicles. I saw protest as well. I participated in the protest, and I saw exactly what was going on. And as much as I tried to reason with the people, I understood. I could also see the anger which these people are going through. And we must not act like that these things don't exist. This is America. But again, this is the same America where people are losing their lives like flies, like a pat in the like it doesn't matter, but it matters. And if we don't step up and take action right now, it's gonna continue, because these bad people have power. They have the guns, and they have so many things, and it's not fair. There has to be a balancing in the equation. There has to be a balancing in the process. There has to be a balancing in the thoughts. There has to be a balancing in the actions. There has to be a balancing in the there has to be checks and balances. There has to be checks and balances. Someone has to check the police. And the people who have the power to check the police is actually the people. The people have the power to check the police. So when it's a game of chess. So when someone checks the police have to take action, that would not infuriate the people even more. Like driving a car on protesters, like riding a horse on protesters. That is not right. Like leaving out dogs on protesters. Like shooting canister bombs on protesters. That is not fair. That is not how you help the situation. That is only how you aggravate the situation. It is simple logic. So as much as I'm going to be very thoughtful in this video, I'm also going to be very reasonable. Because we have to use the reasonable man's test in analyzing this. And when we use the reasonable man's test, we see that the police are not being reasonable right now. They're not being reasonable. And it's only when you are reasonable, that's when you can have a discussion. But when you're not reasonable, you're not leaving the room for discussion. I'm your favorite leader, Buchilo. Subscribe to my channel, like, make a comment. Let's talk. Let's figure out reasonable ways of having a dialogue, and reasonable ways of making a change in this present policy and this present economy that we live in. God bless you.